some of the content that we'll be discussing may be of sensitive nature, so just to warn you. But joining us now is someone who is currently helping victims of Hamas sexual attacks and advising governments on their approach to such atrocities. The founder of Survivors of Sexual Violence, Yael Sherer. Yael, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Now, you're only in the country for about a week and then...
Yes.
And then you go back to... Israel. So talk to me about what... Because obviously we're obviously not going to be too explicit because it's a very sensitive subject. But talk to me about why you decided to get involved in this and what your story is.
I'm a survivor myself, and I founded this organisation, Survivors of Sexual Violence Advocacy Group. I'm an expert on healthcare policy, and I've been working in this field of collection of evidence, forensics and DNA for the last 12 years. So for me, on the 7th of October, that was a great shock, but on the 8th, I already started working with the Israeli government. I knew everybody in this field already, and there was a great need for policy advisors on the issue. I used to work in East Africa, I worked on the Ukraine, and my expertise were needed, and I came in to help. So in 2019, I started this organization, Survivors of Sexual Violence Advocacy Group. And we've been working on legislation and policy with the Israeli government and the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. And I'm here for a week. I was invited by StandWithUs UK, and I am going to meet with members of the British Parliament, and I hope it makes a difference. I hope it makes people understand how large-scale were the attacks on Israeli civilians, both men and women, unfortunately, and how much help we really need with public opinion around the world now.
What advice, what advice would you give to those who have experienced something similar to what you experienced? And what would you say that was the one big thing that you learned about yourself?
I think the most important thing is not being alone. I think the horrible thing about sexual abuse and sexual violence is the shame that you feel. You feel utterly alone, and you need to connect with your peer group, with other people who experienced things that are, well, not identical, but similar, and you can be together. Feeling alone and isolated is the worst thing. And I think talking about it, making other people feel comfortable to say it. It's not your fault. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. So saying I was raped or sexually abused shouldn't be something that is shameful.
And what advice do you give to governments? Because you now advise them.
Yes, I do.
What kind of things do you tell them? What do they need to do?
Well, much more things to do with collection of evidence. How do you analyze the crime scenes? How do you keep evidence? How do you keep rape kits? How do you deal with survivor testimonies, police investigations? I did a lot of work with Eastern European countries. I am now doing work with Eastern European countries. I've worked with teams in the US, and I think a lot of governments are moving forward in their thinking about legal proceedings to do with sexual violence.
It's very, very important as well that we do talk about these subjects so people know that there is somewhere that women can go or men can go, because obviously it's not just one side, it's all sides and things. And your views on the Hamas-Israel situation? Everyone would like to see it end and the war to stop because we don't want anyone to die.
The only thing I can say is that I wish for the swift return of the 101 hostages that we still have in Hamas' hands. We still have women captive, we still have civilians captive, and we still have 2 children that are yet to return, Kfir and Ariel Bibas, and the youngest to be held by Hamas is 2 years old.
Do you get why people keep going when you talk about October the 7th? People then say, oh, no, started a long time before that. Everyone always goes on about that. What is it? the reasoning?
Oh, well, this conflict is not a new conflict. Both sides are reacting and overreacting again and again. We did have a lot of violence during the years, but this is completely different. This attack on Israel on October 7th was completely uncalled for. It was unprovoked. It was on the holy day, 6:30 in the morning. Civilians are sleeping in their bed. And to attack somebody in the holy day in such a way, raping, killing, kidnapping, setting people on fire, and it caused the whole area to uprise. Israel is now being attacked by Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, and Yemen.
With the work that you're doing now, what's your next big mission to deal with? What are you dealing with now?
Well, policy-wise, the biggest mission is going to be mental health. With so many Israelis subjected to these sites, with so many Israelis having family members kidnapped, killed, murdered, raped, with so many soldiers coming back with PTSD, so many people can't return to their homes. They've been evacuated. They've been living out of their homes in hotels or other apartments for a year. Mental health is going to be the biggest issue in Israel for the next 10, 20 years.
It's really good to talk to you. I could talk to you for a long time. That's Yael Sherer. She's one of the survivors of sexual violence. Thank you so much for talking to us. And she's also a founder of an organisation that helps people who have gone through that. Thank you very much, Yael.
Thank you, Nana.
Really good to talk to you.